to another episode of the DomJake podcast. It has been a long time, at least since we've recorded one of these. The last one being the cult episode, what was that, a month ago?
We recorded it as a month ago, as of right now recording this, and it recently came out.
Sure.
At least probably, maybe it'll be a while since when this comes out.
When this comes out, it's gonna say 2 months ago or something, right?
Maybe, because we've finally released Hobby Hangout, so...
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, you want to do any brass tacks about that before getting going on this?
Not to sponsor or anything, but no. But really, this series is mainly about trying to explore every hobby out there.
Of course, it will randomly come up because we're spinning a wheel or putting names in a hat, or we're picking them randomly for the most part. Every now and then we might pick one that we really wanted to do or whatever, but you don't need to hear all of the information, but it is something that we're both excited to have out, you know? We've been kind of planning this for a while.
But we also don't want to forget the pods either.
Right. And, of course, with Hobby Hangout and the pods, they're both kind of currently suffering right now because guess why? The
real life.
Well, I was going to say a bad word. I was going to say a vulgar word for internet talk. But employment. I know. Bad word.
That's
Scary.
number 11.
That's bad. Ooh, it's not as bad as the word job.
That's number 13.
Scary. That one is
number
scary.
13.
Right there. But no, I actually haven't introduced us. Of course, this is DomJake Studios, this is DomJake Podcast, whatever. I'm your host, Jake.
And I'm your host, Dom. So before we get too carried away with all this Hobby Hangout job stuff, what is this episode about?
Crushing orphans.
Crushing orphans? Those poor kids!
Or rather, the orphan crushing machine.
Oh, no! Oh, no! Those poor orphans!
Oh, those poor orphans, right? Well,
I shouldn't be laughing.
But these orphans do not exist. If anything, this is just a mind experiment. A little thought experiment, if you would. It kind of ties into philosophy and sociology in a sense, but to kind of put it in simple terms, the orphan crushing machine was coined a while ago on Twitter when someone commented on something bad. original in like 2 seconds or whatever, or 2
Oh,
scrolls.
I don't have.
You don't even
Orphan-
have to have Twitter. You could probably
I know.
just find it on like images or something, you know? Just search it, you know?
Every heartwarming human interest story in America is like, he raised $20,000 to keep 200 orphans from being crushed in the orphan crushing machine. And then never ask why an orphan crushing machine exists or why you need to pay to prevent from being used.
Right. That. And I could be wrong about this. Was it? I know I'm the one asking you, even though you're not the one who knows more about this. Was it in relation to like a Mr. Beast thing? It sounds like it could be, but it honestly could have just been
It could be
some philanthropy that happened in the 80s or something. It could have been referring back to, but
Who knows? I really don't know.
But
Who
I
knows
mean,
if this...
it could be tied to Mr. Beast as well, because that whole
Actually,
philanthropic
hold
thing-
on. Okay, I see something blind people see for the first time. It does seem to tie in a little bit with the whole Mr. Beast, but I don't think maybe this original tweet has nothing to do with Mr. Beast.
That's probably what it is. It's probably like there's similarities between it, so let's draw connections, which is great critical thinking, so applause internet for once.
Clap, clap.
Yeah, clap, 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 right? But yeah, no, we're going to be exploring how some of these stories often overlook deeper issues causing problems in the first place. So, what the orphan crushing machine? You heard. And you read the original tweet, too.
So, I know it's... Okay,
In your own words, do you think you know it?
It actually tells me right here what it is.
In your own words?
No, not in my own words. I mean, before I can read the full definition, I can just say it. Just me, like, oh, people are focused on... Like, wait, this is... You're not looking at the bigger picture here, guys. What about this?
Yes, exactly. What about the thing in the past that made this good thing happen? You know, somebody, I don't know, someone finally caught up with this serial killer and took them down, right? But why did it take them 20 years to track down this killer who killed 2,000 people? An example, and a heavy one at that, but, you know, get the idea.
Okay, so here, I guess it says, Orphan Crushing Machine is a metaphor for heartwarming news stories about someone remedying the immediate effects of a socio-political issue that ignore the root cause of said issue. The catchphrase and metaphor
Satirizes.
Sure, yeah. These stories by comparing them to a story of a person raising money to keep 200 orphans from being crushed, where nobody asks why an orphan crushing machine exists in the first place.
It represents a scenario where society focuses on stopping the bad problem. But, like you said, the root of the cause is just ignored. Right.
That sounds like... You notice, like, you watch something and then you see, like, an article, but then it kind of blurs or doesn't... It just darkens the rest of the text and then it just shows the one thing that you're supposed to read. I don't know if you're getting what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, I just don't know why you're saying.
I don't know, it just reminds me of something like that, although maybe not the same thing.
I mean,
Like,
if anything, your metaphor would make a little bit more sense if it only showed you the last sentence of the article, the last great sentence of it, because it's a great sentence, the last one, but maybe the first few pages of that are not really the greatest. But no, let's take a little close look into a real example that happened in real life. So, there is this grandfather and grandson who had the grandson had a very, very bad allergic reaction to something. Just having an allergic reaction.
I get it.
That's why. What are you gonna do? Go 15 miles an hour in a 15 miles an hour zone if you have someone dying in the back seat?
I wouldn't want that person dying.
You'd be like, sorry, your life's not important. The speed limit is, though.
Yeah.
In an effort to save lives, like genuinely save lives, a lot of times you can commit crimes, which is interesting to say.
Yeah.
But like, if someone is about to die of heat stroke, and you know your neighbor has a pool with an easy to hop fence, you can do that in an effort to not have someone really die. You know? It's one of those easy to ask for forgiveness, but hard to ask for permission sort of stories, right? Of course, depending on the neighbor, they're probably fine with it, but like, some might be a little finicky and might be happy to sue you for trespassing or whatever, right? Because everybody wants to get their cut of the money. But in general, I'm not talking about the Orphan Crushing Machine for a second, but in general, you can commit crimes in an effort to save things, right? But going back to the 94-year-old grandfather story, right? It kind of shifts the focus of speeding to the underlying issues, like the high cost of an ambulance and healthcare that force people to make these difficult decisions. I forgot to mention that the grandfather wasn't really in a financial position to call an ambulance, because just riding an ambulance itself was not for some reason. Right? It's just a big bus, right? He wasn't well off to do, so it's like, vroom vroom. I gotta get you there. And EpiPens and medications and all the likes of that cost money in this country as well. They cost money in other places too, but it's a lot more affordable elsewhere. This was an American story, by the way. So in an effort to save his grandson,
So he had to speed.
because he also could not pay bills for ambulance, stuff like that. Sure, he'd have to still pay at the hospital for like the EpiPen and for that treatment, but if he also had the ambulance to get taken, that would also be tacked onto the charge as well, right?
Right. I mean, sure. Oh, but Dad, I'm having an allergic reaction. Shut up! I gotta go 15 miles an hour.
I can't get a ticket. You can suck it up for a little bit.
Yeah. I guess if there was a situation where, oh, hey, you were speeding. Oh, I'm sorry, my son or my grandson was having this reaction. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. You can't do that then.
There is plenty of opportunity where that could have happened that way. You know, it doesn't matter. You were speeding. You put the lives of others in danger.
Yeah, I was trying to save a life.
But, like, also, it doesn't say anything about, you know, the roads being empty. If there was no road, if there was no car on any road, technically you could go 120 miles an hour on every single road. Don't, but you could. If no one was there, you know? For legal reasons, that's a joke. Don't take that advice.
Don't take it. No, don't take the advice.
So you got a little broad scope of a story in action, but can you think of one off the top of your head? It could have even been something that happened to you.
In my personal life?
Yeah, personal. Doesn't have to be.
I can't say. I'm just gonna go back to the whole definition again. Because...
Fair enough. You might be able to recontextualize the definition into an example that you have. I guess while you're thinking of it, I could maybe move on to just in general the emotions, the brain stuff, the psychology of that, right?
Yeah.
So, in American media and culture, it tends to focus on individual solutions, like charity events or personal acts of kindness, without addressing the real cause of that social problem. You know, all of these children have... Okay, maybe that's not a good example, because that's nature. That's not really something we can solve right away. But I'll say this then. We have a whole bunch of cats and dogs in this shelter that are, you know... The seas have been a lot cleaner ever since they started their endeavors and started paying all these companies to clean the waters up. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but it is a great thing for the ocean. However, why was there garbage in the ocean to begin with?
Okay.
It's like that.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not a
okay, I have
hypocritical
something in
thing.
mind. Not a hypocritical thing, got it. But, okay, so now this reminds me of something more recent. Well, it wasn't like 2 weeks ago, but this is like a couple months. I guess RFK wants to start banning food dyes in a lot of our stuff, as well as eventually getting rid of a whole bunch of these chemicals in our food, which is great. But
I don't
how
think
come?
so, actually.
Well,
we'll hear you out.
Or at the very least, get rid of a lot of food dyes. But how come it took them this long to do it, and why was it like that in the first place? Sort of, yeah.
depending on your opinion, yes, that is an example of the orphan crushing machine. And
it just does beg that question, though. It does beg why.
Why the bad thing happened in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the topic is. You know, it could be, why are we cutting down every single tree in the world and putting massive skyscrapers over these majestic forests, right?
You see these, help save the trees. Why were we already cutting trees? We obviously, we know why.
It's greed. It's corporate greed. That's what it is. It's all, we need to put more people in homes that they can't afford. So these buildings are just sitting here unhappy.
See this? You see all these new houses being built.
Yeah, great. Now I have another thing to look at that I can't afford. But yeah, there's interesting psychology with that, because a lot of times people are interested in the individual solutions and focused on that. Like, yay, Mr. Beast and Mark Rober team up to fight polluted waters or to plant more trees. But like, what about the problem? Sure, they're doing great, and they really are doing great when it comes to seas and trees, but the issue with it is the rest of the world isn't on board. We should be, growing these trees, helping our ozone layer. It is better than what it used to be, but still, it's not perfect. We should be helping our trees and seas and bees and ovaries. No, I'm just trying to rhyme. And cheese. Team cheese.
Mees.
Yeah, before team trees and bees, you gotta do team mees.
Let's not waffle on, please.
Sure. But yeah, no, real acts of kindness are great. These charities are great. Their purpose is amazing. Raise money for homeless vets, or here's a charity walk to help find a cure for cancer, or here's a fundraiser for finding homes for cats, dogs, and pets, right? All of these things are great, but why do we have homeless veterans? Why do we have ownerless animals in shelters that are about to die because they get put down? Why do we have XYZ? Why? Let's actually do a walkthrough of this. The homeless vets, or jobless vets, or whatever. Ailing vets. These veterans, they serve in a country that is trying to protect our country, right? Like, they serve in a war, and sometimes they don't serve in a war, but like, they're stationed in America trying to, do reconnaissance or whatever, right? They're doing stuff for the benefit of the country. And yet, they come back and they're unable to buy food. They're unable to live in a shelter. They're unable to provide income for themselves. They're unable to do a lot of things. Of course, some are more lucky than others, because some have post-traumatic stress disorders. Some have mental health issues. And some don't. But regardless, the vets are struggling. Now, there are charities out there. Let's raise money to help stop homeless vets. Great. That's a great thing. Let's walk a little bit back. Why are they homeless? But let's actually have you answer. Why are they homeless?
Homeless veterans.
Why is that?
There could be different reasons why.
Sure, but what's the main reason?
Or let's just talk about how people are homeless a lot of times.
No, let's talk about the vets right now.
They could have maybe fallen under hard times, or they've made bad decisions.
I think you're skipping over a big one. For the most part, it's the transition challenges after their service. Because you're used to, a compartmentalized day, a routine, over and over, do the same thing, and you have your place for years and years at a time. But then you come back home and a lot of things changed on you, right?
You have your everyday routine, and then just something happens.
Everyday routine, but then you come back home where it's not a routine, or it's at least a different routine. You don't really have a place anymore, and so it's a little bit hard since you don't have the safety net of what you used to have. So leaving the military can mean losing that stable military paycheck, their housing, their health coverage, their structure and identity, right? Some veterans struggle to adjust to civilian jobs, or don't even have the skills to transfer easily, right? Because some people, very skilled marksmen, I don't think people are hiring for people to be great at shooting somebody from 50 miles away, right? Unless if you're in an active war zone, you're probably not going to be doing that much with that skill legally.
Because, you leave the military, well, now you just lost your house.
A lot of this also has to do with mental health struggles, right? With the PTSDs, the depressions, the anxieties, the traumas that are just more common among veterans. If untreated, these conditions can make it harder to hold positions, to maintain relationships, and to manage finances. Because even a drop of happiness is worth every penny, sometimes. A lot of times, combat or service-related injuries even lead to chronic pain or limited mobility or inability to work in certain fields. Some of them do cope with their trauma or pain through alcohol and drugs, which can spiral into addiction. There's a lack of affordable housing. You were brushing up on that a little bit before, but I would say the main one is the transition between the military and, let's just say,
real life.
Yeah, right. Not to say that the military isn't real life, but
it is.
How do you react, right?
It's like putting a kid into the adult world. He has to pay bills and stuff.
There's a lack of affordable housing. Like many civilians, veterans face rising housing costs and a limited availability of affordable rentals or support housing. Even with benefits, securing safe housing in the high-cost areas can be very difficult. Weak or uneven support systems. The VA and nonprofits do sometimes provide services, but not every veteran qualifies. It knows how to access them, or even feels comfortable seeking help. Some veterans become isolated from family or community, leaving them with fewer safety nets, right? Sometimes you could come back home and have your spouse waiting for you at home. But a lot of times, unfortunately, even that safety net isn't there because maybe dad died when you were away. Maybe your spouse decided, hey, I'm divorcing you because, you're not here to satisfy me for 5 weeks, right? So a lot of them are like, I have no way to start fresh. And that's a lot of times reasons why you see that, right? Now going back, right? Why are these veterans struggling?
They're unable to adjust immediately to.
No. I'm asking before that. Because remember, we're doing this exercise. It starts with people are raising money for these veterans to afford to succeed in life. A step back from that is all of these veterans are struggling. So why are they struggling? We answered that. But why is that happening then? Right? Why the step before?
Okay.
Because they got deployed.
Yeah.
Because they're in serious shit. That's the reason why they're going through all of this stuff. And why are they going through all of this serious stuff? Because these politicians, these world leaders, are bickering with each other. And they have to have wars for resources, or power, or wealth, whatever, or just fame sometimes. Sometimes it's just about fame. Let me make a war with you, random country, because I want my name in the world papers. I want to be talked about. I want to be remembered as a nation. But why are the leaders of this world creating wars in the first place? Because of low egos. So if you go down this rabbit hole, this veteran charity only exists because of all those bad things. So what if we focused our effort on need their turn in the sandpit, right? Like, we should have, how many countries are there in the world that have leaders? We should have 100 good-minded people who are like, you know what? There are 365 days in a year, unless we count a leap year. There are 100 of us, so let's see. Everyone gets 1 day in the sandpit. Is that fair? Then everyone else will be like, yeah, that's fair, that's fair. But how about the other 65 days that we could, well, since there are 100 of us, and 65 remainder, maybe we can all, on those 65 days, all 100 of us can hold hands and just decide not to go in the sandpit. We'll circle around it. We'll dance around the sandpit. How does that feel? Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, kumbaya. And now the world is peaceful because everybody can learn to agree. Can learn to be great instead of the pettiness that we see today. Guatemala, and everywhere. What's gonna happen?
We just, like, yeah, there's a lot going
What's
on.
gonna happen to that petty baby Andrew? He's gonna bite us in the butt for something we didn't do.
It's like you get punched for something you didn't do.
Meanwhile, the people who did do something about it have face shields up, so they can't get punched at all.
This all just sounds interesting, but now I know there's a word for that now.
Yeah,
Orphan
there is a term for this great outcome, but bad income, if we want to call it that, right? But there is danger of only focusing on the solution, though, right? Like, if you always celebrate the hero and don't acknowledge the bigger issue, then more bigger issues are going to happen. They're going to stack up against each other. Great! You see the hero! Yay! Superman saved the day! But why was the bullet train speeding off the track in the first place? Because the manufacturer didn't lube up the wheels good or whatever, right? Like, they didn't do something right, so I don't know, let's make sure they do the right thing so then Superman doesn't need to save the bullet train.
Right.
The mindset prevents progress by only focusing on the hero and the good stuff. Why do you think that is?
People want to just, I don't know, they want to make themselves sound good instead of trying to focus on the bigger picture.
But how does this mindset of only focusing on the good outcome hinder things?
I don't know, just it probably comes from like maybe influence from like others. I don't, because sometimes, or they're just learned stuff as kids, and then as then when they're adults, they don't really look at the bigger picture. Maybe they were taught from kids to look at the good things.
So
that could be a possibility.
In a whole society where everybody's looking at the good things, but nothing bad at all. You're only told, hey, the glass is always, it's not half full, it's full, right? If everybody's told to look at the great things, then what could get created as an outcome?
What could we create as an outcome? Like now we get more people who are like, oh yeah, blah 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 blah.
A
dystopia,
right?
Yeah.
A dystopia can be made if everybody thinks everything is great, but you're not allowed to say anything bad about everything, right? Because although everything looks like peaches and daisies, underneath the surface it's probably not.
Yep, you see that a lot.
But yeah, these narratives can distract from the real change by focusing on the charity instead of the root, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll bring orphans, like an orphanage, into this, but I'm not talking about crushing right now. So, it is great to adopt children, because we do have a lot of children that need homes and resources. Fantastic. Do that. You don't always need to make sure that child is related to you, because it doesn't matter, right? You raise it your own, it's your child, right? It's great to have these adoption agencies, but why are so many people having the hoinky-poinky and having these children that they don't want or can't keep for financial reasons or etc.? Why is this overpopulation happening in the first place? Is it because just a spur of the moment, let's have fun tonight, and then, oh no, something happened, or like, what's the issue? Or if they knew they can't afford all of this, why go through with it?
They're not thinking
the long term.
They're just not thinking, I guess logically, they're more so thinking emotionally. But then when reality hits in, now they're like, uh-oh, I gotta do all this.
And what's even worse that could happen as a result? Sometimes their eyes open after the fact, and then they have resentment for the kid that they could have not done. You know, they could have done the same activities protected, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But like, these narratives distract from real change by focusing on the individual act and calling out the necessary reforms. Like, there was something, and I know, communistic idea, but there was a thing put in place in China before where it was like, limit 2 children per household, 1 boy, 1 girl. That's it. That was all the household that could do. And if it's more or something, you kind of have to either give it up or do whatever, right? Of course, with communists, with rules and stuff like this, sometimes people try to hide the fact that they had more than 2 children. It happens. It did happen a few times. Some people got away with it, and some people didn't. There could be some sort of implementation put into place in America that was like, hey, let's only do 1 child per house, or whatever, right? They could put that into play, and if they had more than 1, then oops, oh well, give it up. Hey, give me the baby, give the government the baby. You're only supposed to have 1.
Similar things can be said about like foster care and stuff. I don't know, like, why were these kids put in foster care to begin with? I could think of similar scenarios as that.
Because I'm trying to walk you through it. Like, explain it to me, even though I understand what you're talking about. Explain it.
Well, there's kids that sometimes their parents are just not good, to the point where they have to go through like had to be put into like foster homes and stuff, because some people just cannot raise their kids. So then they go through foster care, and then there's foster parents that some may be good, some may not be good.
Well, in this example, in the Orphan Crushing Machine example, or topic, or analogy, whatever you want to call it, in this, that's not really a good connection there. And the reason why is because the outcome could be bad as well. That's not what we're looking at here. We're looking at the whole journey is bad, but the last step is amazing.
Yeah.
So not quite with the foster talking. I should say not all the time with the foster talking.
Mm-hmm.
So what would it look like if we focused on fixing the systems causing these issues rather than celebrating these individual victories?
We need to...
That's a question.
Yeah, people need to start... Well, we need to start raising awareness about why are these issues happening to begin with.
Right. But what would it look like if we did that?
I can't really say I have a definite answer for that, but I guess...
What could it look like that?
So you see these people standing in these, like... I'm just picturing a guy in, like, one of those courtroom just standing. He's like, hey, this is what you guys are doing. Why aren't you fixing the problem? Why did this issue happen to begin with? Blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I don't know specifically what it would look like.
So I'm not just talking about a singular dude in a courtroom addressing senators or whoever they are. I know what you're talking about, but I'm more so meaning, what would society look like if we focused on the root instead of the fruit?
We'd have more pragmatic people.
How so? Expound on that.
Well, sometimes when people have, how can I really say this?
You said it. Like, it's It's great. Like, that's a great thing to say, but how so?
Well, we wouldn't have. I mean, sure, we can. It's great to have a celebration, but we'd have more people looking at the reality and like, wait, this should never have happened.
Right, and what
Calling
could that
out.
do?
It would make society now care more about everybody, and
use
we'd
more
have less
thinking.
Use more logical,
right, logical reasoning and deduction, and society would be a better place.
Yeah, I think so.
If ever.
Relate to exactly this whole orphan crushing scenario, but maybe this isn't as big of an issue, but there's a thing called marriage counseling.
Sure.
There's always going to be people having issues, arguments, which could always be solved through communication, but then it gets to a point where, now we need marriage counseling. Great that we have it, but why did it even get to this point to begin with? Maybe something's just not working out.
That insinuates that them even meeting in the first place, them meeting on the first day that they ever saw each other, was a bad thing. You realize that?
Maybe I should have rephrased.
Maybe it was a bad thing.
Maybe it was, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe I just thought of it.
This one I could see something there with that. I could see the connection that you're trying to make with this one. That's not a bad idea, right? Because it does get into the root of, like, if they do come out the other side of marriage counseling and win. I know it's counseling, you're not supposed to win, but, like, they succeed, they're stronger together, they're happier, whatever, right? But, yeah, celebrate that. That's a great thing. Not everybody wins. Not everybody comes out the other side victorious.
Yeah.
So you should celebrate that. It's still worth celebrating, but why did the bad things happen in the first place? I don't know, was it, you never put the toilet seat down when you're done with it? And that happened 5 times a day for 50 years. And I finally got fed up with it. That's a lot of times that I told you to put down the toilet seat, and you never did. That's a silly example, but like, things happen like that, and then other things happen on top of it. Oh, every single time I asked you if you wanted to go out on a date with me to the place that we met, you always said you were too busy or you didn't want to have that cuisine, and it made me sad. You know, things like that stack up on top of each other when it comes to this. So it's like, now you're over the boiling point, and you have to get a counselor, right? Or you don't get a counselor and you let things blow up and you just end it there without trying. That happens too.
Yeah. But yeah, just like, it's like, wait a minute.
Like,
that's a thing too.
Those issues could have been solved with the communication before reaching to the phone book for the counselor's number, right? There could have been room for either person. Let's use the stupid toilet seat example. I think it's stupid because it is.
It's a toilet.
It takes not even half a second to lift or drop a lid, right?
There are people like that get pissed over that. It's like, really? Just you want to do it. It's like it's not that big of a deal.
People get upset over which way the freaking toilet paper is facing.
My book is 45 degrees turned where it should have been, right?
People get upset at when people dog ear the pages of a book, right?
Yeah.
Just many different things. Some people think like all of this is worth getting upset about, and I'm not saying that is wrong. Everyone's allowed to get upset at what they get upset about, but there's communication in both avenues, right?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna assume this is a male and female couple, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to adopt the perspective of the lady in the relationship, right? I tell you to put it down every single day and you never listen. Well, there could be many reasons why. Maybe he didn't hear you. Maybe he did hear you and was like, ooh, I'll try doing it. Within the next hour, he does forget. There's many things.
It's not like, oh, we're not listening.
From the male's perspective, this lady, she tells me every single day to put the seat down. But why can't you put it down if you needed to? Right? Why is it an issue?
But And why is this an issue to begin with? It's like,
Because I lift it up every time that I need to lift it up, so why can't you do the thing? So it's that. Both of them are right in their way. In their own way, in their own right, they are correct. But if both of them aren't going to try the other way out, then nothing's gonna happen.
it's like,
Except for
well,
bickering endlessly, right? So solve the issue. Instead of going to couples therapy after 50 more things stacked up on top of each other. We kind of got a little sidetracked and
we did waffle, but I was like,
waffle, but it was related. You know, we were talking about
related.
pancakes, but like we did waffle, right?
it's like, it sounds similar to the whole Orphan crushing machine, so I was like, I needed to bring it up.
Yes.
But we do have this whole general idea of, okay, woohoo, yaha, but how come this happened to begin with? This whole orphan crushing,
right?
whether it was for good or for bad.
Let me move on. Just the last segment before ending this. I have pulled up r/orphan crushing machine. It's literally examples where real people will find real examples and put them on the Reddit. So this most recent one right now is from 13 hours ago. People losing their job to automation makes me smile, is what the title is. Neighborhood is moving to automatic trash bins so the kids will no longer see him. This is the side of humanity we need to see more. So the whole idea right here is gonna read the comments a little bit. It really shows a failed society where automation doing something most people don't want is hurting people instead of helping them. Yeah, we're being told that automation and AI is a threat when in reality it should be a liberation from all the pointless labor we were expected to participate in. The problem is we need systems in place, universal basic income, free healthcare, etc. ... Absolutely, and as long as we live in a society and leaders that fetishize freedom-style capitalism, we will never get that. And that will probably never happen because people have been indoctrinated into the hamster wheel and change is uncomfortable. So we will keep having sociopaths running the system. Blah 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 blah, alright? Let's see. This one. A lock that prevents kick-ins during emergencies. So this one is a video of a lock, presumably in a classroom environment, with blackout curtains that they're pulling down, and a little lock into place that prevents you from kicking down the door easily. So great, you get to protect children in a classroom and a teacher in a classroom by putting a very, very sturdy thing in front of the door. You're able to protect it. But why are we having to protect these children in the first place?
I don't know, it's because it's like one of the classic cases of...
Why are these bomb threats happening? Why are these gun threats happening? Why are these school shootings happening?
Why do these things happen to begin with?
Why don't we stop this? Instead of needing to worry about putting metal detectors and good doors in their classrooms.
Like, why do these Clorox bottles have labels on them? Because somebody decided to do something stupid. But I think common sense would say, hey, don't drink this.
A homeless man found a $10,000 check on the street, meant for a real estate broker, and found a way to return it. Touched, the broker awarded him a place to live and arranged a job interview. That's great, amazing, but a man awarded basic human right and workforce access after demonstrating.
How did he get there?
I mean, he shouldn't have been homeless in the first place because the system good outcome as opposed to the root of the issue as a whole. It's still great to celebrate these good outcomes, you know? It's amazing the kid was adopted after 15 years in foster care.
But it should not have taken 15 years.
Because all of these parents are a little too picky when it comes to their children. But yeah, it's a great thing that these veterans have, these charities to look after them, because nobody else is. But it is a bad thing that it's even happening in the first place, right? Why should we need these charities? We should just have them be fine anyway.
Right.
That shouldn't have to be a fundraiser event. But no, I challenge everyone potentially listening to think critically about some of the stories that you consume. Because they could be crushing. They could be orphan crushing machines. Like, yay, this duck was cleaned with Dawn dish detergent after an oil spill. The oil spill happened.
Yeah.
There an oil spill.
But yeah, I actually did learn something here. I kind of knew the sentiment, but I didn't know the name for it. So the whole orphan crushing machine isn't just the name for it.
In essence, yay, congratulate yourself for learning something new today. But why didn't you know the name of it before?
Right.
Obviously that's a little humor added on top. But no, we really need to focus on the importance of root issues.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fix things at the root, because if you're not going to fix things at the root, more things are gonna pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, good things could pop up too.
Mm-hmm.
But if the root issue is not fixed, well, it's not fixed.
Yeah,
Putting a Band-Aid on a totally wrecked car is not going to help it in the long run. Might help it a little bit, but not in the long run.
Literally.
Because, the worst part about media and people's attention spans too, you can have a good story and that doesn't really last a long time in your mind. Because the mind is designed to harp on the bad stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, the shit stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Here's a little call to action. I started saying it before, but I'll say it again. Next time you hear a feel-good story, just ask yourself, what's the machine that caused the need for this good deed? If there even was a machine that caused this. Because good things happen all the time too. Sometimes unrelated to problems.
Yeah. Something's happened.
I found my 14th four-leaf clover on the anniversary of my amazing wedding.
There you go.
Celebrate
Hooray.
that. That's
Hip hip hooray.
That didn't happen because of a bad thing. I don't think. You just found a 14th clover, right? Yay. On a good day. But no.
I had a good time learning more about this.
And at the start of this, you thought I was talking about crushing orphans.
Oh, not those poor orphans! But, yeah, anything else before we wrap up? But
I think the only real thing to do is thank everybody once again for watching. This has been the Orphan and Crushing episode.
yeah, and
thank you for tuning in. Have a crushing day.
have a crush of a good time, sure.